Welcome to the Real Talk with Missy and Fabio.
The honest side of real estate with all you must know to survive in this market.
Welcome, guys, to our podcast, Missy and Fabio Real Talk. Today we have two special guests, and there's Cori and Megan and Cori. I'm sorry. So I love to go to their place because they have a wonderful coffee, and that's one of the places that I really enjoy to be around.
He also likes to dance there.
Yeah, that's true.
He
Well,
gets to
tonight
dance.
we have a dance there.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm not dressing up that way because I'm going to change, but anyway. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thanks. We're glad to be here.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're excited to have you, and I think you all are involved in a ton of different elements that bring goodness to our world. So I know, tell a little bit each about yourselves, and then we'll kind of go into what you all do in town that you're passionate about.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, I grew up in this area. I grew up in Stafford, but bounced between Fredericksburg and Stafford for a long time. Graduated from Colonial Forge High School.
You did? How old are you?
I'm 37.
You know Kyle
Oh,
Walden?
Kyle Walden. The name does sound familiar.
They played lacrosse. He was kind of a quiet guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's
Probably
your same.
cross paths.
He's
Yeah,
about
prob-
the same.
prob-
He's
yeah,
a little
probably.
bit younger than you. He's
Yeah,
1 year behind you.
Yeah, probably definitely cross
Awesome.
paths. Since then, I'm a local musician. I really kind of cut my teeth in the downtown Fredericksburg area. So now, as business owners in downtown, we have music nights and things like that, and most of these people are like colleagues and friends that I've played with for years. And everybody's in various different places in their careers, but it's always good to pull them all together in one place and and have access to some of the most talented people in Fredericksburg. So that's
awesome.
kind of a plus.
Yes. That's a big benefit.
What you're doing, though, is you're kind of creating a good sense of community, which I think we all are starving for now with COVID. And, you got to stay arm's length apart from the world.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. That's very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, that's definitely, something we're trying to build for sure, just kind of across all of our programs. But yeah, so I grew up in Woodbridge, so not too far away from here. And I've kind of bounced around Virginia. I came to Fredericksburg in 2017. And most of my background outside of coffee, I've worked in the coffee industry since I was a teenager, just as a barista and manager kind of along the way. And then I also, the bulk of my work has been in humanitarian development work. So I do some international work in Haiti mostly, but also in the local community as well. And so that's kind of the perfect blend of the two passion areas that we, bring into our operation at Curitiba. And
That would be a good idea. What is your business in town?
Oh yeah, it's Curitiba Art Cafe. Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. And your interior, the way it is decorated, and the way the renovation. I don't think you all did the renovation. Someone else before
Correct.
did.
Yeah.
What an
previous ownership.
amazing interior, though. It's beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, they did a wonderful job with that space. And we've been involved with Curitiba since it opened. So we got to know them really well. I was the general manager there for a long time, and so that's how we got connected with Frank and Anna, who really did a great deal to set us up for success when they approached us, to take over. So we've been owners since June of 2020, and continue to, be really involved in, they continue to be really involved with us.
It's a great location. To be honest, we are realtor, but we're really looking forward to help people, small business, and to help the community, to help each other, because that's what our goals here, to be honest.
Our goal is to expose you guys as much as we can, and to help you grow too, because we all have our special little niches in town, but a lot of people don't even know about. I'm like, did you go to Old Town Fredericksburg while you were there? Like, oh yeah, we went over to the mall. I'm like, no. You have to go downtown,
Yes,
and
yes.
that's where the cream is. It's what we really enjoy. We both love it. Yeah, we tried for a couple of years to find a house down there, and finally I was like, it's just too hard, and plus we kind of like to park our vehicles close to house.
Well, everything over there is so expensive, so it's really getting growing, to be honest, because there's a lot of new business that's coming up now, which is that's great because there's a lot of people now find a place that and the park is already done.
Yes,
So
yes. That's going to be awesome. How'd you guys meet? Coffee.
Yes.
actually.
Yeah. Coffee. Yeah.
So what is now Katora Coffee on Caroline Street used to be called High Point, and we had a mutual friend that worked there, and Megan was the general manager of.
It's just pretty cute.
Yeah, she was. But she still is. I knew she was always doing work in Haiti too, so it's like we always missed each other. So she had like stints where she was there and then stints where she was overseas. So I never kind of, we never kind of like crossed paths.
Yeah, because our mutual friend, I had hired and trained her there. So, yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So when they so one night they needed some extra help. Megan had some extra time, and she was behind the counter for one of their First Friday events that they were doing, and I met her there.
Well, it's meant to be, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't planning on staying in Fredericksburg, honestly. I had left a contract, kind of running a program, and my sister lived in Fredericksburg, so it was a kind of a temporary stop off for me. I was like, okay, I'll be here. I'll like save some money, like work for maybe 6 months or so. And I was looking to move to South Florida. To be a little closer to my work, and here we are. Now we
Love is here.
Yes.
Love is here.
Yeah, love, and now we own a business.
But
here in
Missy, the
Fredericksburg,
funny thing about the coffee shop, I would say you can get a cocktail, you can get beer, you can have a liquor.
I know.
So that's something. Can you tell about a little bit about that stuff
Tell
and
them
all
what
the
you all
activity that
offer.
you get?
Yeah, absolutely. So the original ownership, so Frank and Anna Robinson. Anna was from Curitiba, which is a city in South Brazil.
Right.
So when we took over ownership and were approached about that, we felt that it was very important to maintain that element of the business and really pay respect to the journey that they had, their vision and what they brought,
And it
with
was also
Curitiba.
and it was also a part of ours because we were there from the beginning.
Exactly. Yeah, and it became a real staple in the community. So having that cultural element behind it was really important. So we offer Brazilian coffees, craft cocktails, light fare and pastry items. We work with a Brazilian baker who makes a lot of our baked goods.
Nice.
And do a great deal of practical research on dialing everything in as much as we can in terms of our product. We make everything in-house that we can, including, like sauces for sandwiches and salad dressings, syrups, things like that too.
And you have an outside eating space in the loft too, right?
Yes.
So and you offer for private parties.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we do. So we have the upstairs loft space, which is a great private meeting
How many
space.
people does that hold? Do you think?
I think 15 is about
Yeah.
Comfortably.
is
15 's good.
comfortably.
At arm's length.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
some
not
space,
really.
and
That's
we've done a lot of work on the back patio as well. So we like to make it like a little sanctuary.
It's cute.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is
I
beautiful.
absolutely
Yeah,
love
I
it.
love it.
It's
Thanks.
very nice.
Yeah, before we came here, I was talking to a customer. I'm a big plant person, so I've been migrating all the plants from inside now back to the patio. And I called it the Great Migration.
Oh,
I have so many plants inside. I'm like, finally, it's time to rehome you.
We
to
have this
patio.
huge cactus that was outside. I moved it outside, and then it snowed
Yeah.
last weekend.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, when it was sleeting, I'm like, Randy. So we had to wrap a sheet around him,
Yes.
and then put it on a dolly, and then bring it in house. I'm like, oh my goodness. So the cleaning lady's there today, and she's like, so are you gonna leave this right here? And I'm like, no, we're gonna try it again. Hopefully it won't snow this weekend, and we can keep it out there.
Yeah, the weather's really weird.
It's been nuts.
Yeah.
You guys, I know you're a part of the Continuum of Care, and can you elaborate a little bit on that, what it is here in town?
Yeah, absolutely. So we joined Continuum of Care as members of Fredericksburg Virginia Mainstreet, which we can talk a little bit about too. But Continuum of Care is like a federal umbrella.
How do you get involved in something like that? And
So you can join as individuals or you can join as a company. So we can definitely connect you because it's a large membership. So they have a core board, and then they also have members at large, and you can be an individual and join. But pretty much all of the homelessness services that exist within the area kind of report to Continuum of Care. And so it's this umbrella of resources, and networking is a really, huge component of that, but also funding, federal funding through like the CARES Act and other things like that come through Continuum of Care and then is distributed to different members. So Micah, the Brisbane Center, there's a lot. It's not just the homelessness services themselves, it's also all of the satellite groups. So like realtors is a big part of that, because housing obviously is a huge part of that conversation. Like we were saying, I mean, it's a really critical piece when you have, people that need housing and are unhoused, but even just workers that are unable to afford, right, housing in the area. It creates a huge chasm, for a lot of people.
Yes.
And during COVID, they, had kind of a shift in how like communal homelessness shelters were kind of operated, because you couldn't have,
Stack people.
you couldn't have all those people in one space. And so they transitioned to more of like this hotel model, which presents an opportunity for some of these old commercial properties, like you're saying, to be converted into, more affordable housing. So the city is making that an initiative moving forward.
Good.
And so that's kind of how we got involved with our, membership with Mainstreet to
That's
kind
a
of plug
great
into
idea.
that. Yeah. So it's a great resource, and we're happy to connect you guys.
Yeah,
I think
we
I
would
know
love
is
to.
it
more
national?
voices at the
It's
table.
national?
It is,
program?
yeah, and this is the Fredericksburg area reports to this specific one. So it's similar to Mainstreet, where you have all of these different locations,
Right.
and they're kind of regionalized.
I feel like it's a shadow population that people don't whether they don't see it or they don't want to see it. I mean, our world, we're just focused on helping those folks that do want a house and can't afford a house today, which is an insanely difficult market right now for buyers. And they can afford it, but they really can't afford it. It's getting to the point where it's unreachable unaffordable for a lot of people right now. And so the thing that I had brought up the other day was that the commercial buildings, why can we not rezone them to residential and make sure that that is something that is entertained by the city?
Yeah,
But it's-
absolutely.
Are they being
Yeah, I mean,
compassionate to it, do you feel like?
It's definitely something that we are pushing for.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of old buildings at this point that are not being used, and that would take care of a lot of the issues. But
Are they owned by private entities,
Yeah,
though,
they-
do you think?
These buildings
I think
are
some are,
some
yeah.
are, and and this is trying to have the conversation with them is obviously really important, but it's also important. It's just really hard for people to. The community has to get behind it too, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about people who are homeless.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
and then because I would have this conversation with people like just in our coffee shop, and they would but they talk about homeless people like they're just all inherently dangerous, and it's like, no, that's not the case.
Yeah, it's such a spectrum,
Yeah.
and that's something that so we're trying to serve as create a more collaboration, right, between the business community and these organizations that are providing homelessness services, because there's a huge opportunity for partnership there, just like there is with realtors or real estate associations, things like that. Because at the end of the day, and this is something that we talk a great deal about, is at the end of the day it is a humanity issue.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It is.
There are economic roots that cause that, but at the end of the day it's a humanity
It is.
issue. And we have the opportunity to create more collaboration to help drive real systemic and sustainable solutions, not just there's a need obviously for the immediate relief, and a lot of funding and organizations work on that, but there's also this you have to create a system that is going to solve the problem, or to the extent that you can.
Right.
And that collaboration we think is really important.
So is there a system coming into play in Fredericksburg, or is there something in place?
Yeah, there are a great deal of organizations that are working to combat the various pieces.
But
of
do you have a place to
homelessness.
put people?
In terms of housing?
Yes.
No, that's like the big.
That's
The
the
big issue
missing
is
link
right
right
now.
That's
there.
the
That's
big
the missing link.
Yeah, the missing
Okay.
link, and a lot of the homelessness or unhoused population in Fredericksburg. All the resources are in Fredericksburg, but a lot of these people also are coming from Spotsylvania, from King George, and so that's a part of the conversation too. Is how do we encourage and hold accountable our leadership to be at the table for those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because we really need innovative solutions at this point, and the
Right.
biggest piece of that is having a place for people to live.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's
You
huge.
know, especially, and then businesses for them to work at as they get back on their feet and start working through these programs.
Well, there's so many
you know?
empty commercial buildings. I mean, and they're still building them in Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
They're building them, and there's empty ones,
Yeah.
and nobody's going to work anymore. Maybe
Yeah.
getting back there, but it's like there's so many other options that
There's a
can
few.
be taken care
There's a
of.
few buildings they've been doing it, but it's a private, investment, and they've been doing a great job. I don't know if you've seen the one that's in downtown. The name is it's a cafe warehouse. They're building like a 12
Oh, right across
apartment.
the street from
Yeah,
the
the
other coffee
2030.
shop.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
okay.
beautiful. It's really nice. I saw the videos.
But
and-
is that for?
No, it's just really normal.
They're just trying.
Yeah, they're just trying. They're going to rent it out. I think it's going to be expensive, by any chance. But I realized I kind of related to what you say about the homeless.
Yeah.
Because when I came home up to the United States, in a way, I was a homeless because I have to live for 2 years with my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law. I mean, I would say I was really grateful because I had that family that I could have, be in place, a really nice place and everything like that. But I was, it's a lot of kind of homeless people.
Right.
And I'm very related to that too because we kind of misunderstanding. We think they are being drugs or they be alcoholic. Sometimes people say, you're going to give your money to them. You don't even know what they're going to spend the money.
Right.
Sometimes we have to be more human and understand and not judge because we don't know their story.
a lot of military
There's a lot of
folks.
stuff behind them, so.
Exactly, and it's so easy now to find yourself in that position.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it does not
Yeah.
take much, right?
Yeah.
The average American
It's
family
crazy.
is
I mean,
Especially nowadays.
There
Yeah.
are people are this close to it in our world that
Yeah.
are trying to find a place to live, or they've sold their home and they thought they would be able to find something immediately, or now the values have gone up so much that they sold their home but they can't afford the next one,
That's
and now
why
and now interest rates just went up again. So
Well, we had a case that was a young guy the other day. He wanted to buy a house, and he was really excited. But then later on, he found out that he may be going to be laid off of the job. So he was kind of afraid, and we understand that his situation because maybe in 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
he might
no job,
Right.
and then he might lose, the house and everything. And that's really sometimes scary.
Yeah, I don't think we
Yeah.
realize how close there are so many people to being homeless. And those that are homeless are not derelicts, they're not,
Right.
lost souls. They
It's
just
a-
cannot afford to get back
Yeah.
on their feet.
It's
Yeah.
it's a class problem and class perception. And if your perception is that anyone who falls on hard times is just, they're always the center of the problem, that's not always the case. There's
Right.
a lot of mitigating factors that put people on the streets. I think the problem is that the solutions or the solutions aren't very humane, and so there's a lot of dignity. I mean, that's why I like doing the hotels version of like a homelessness shelter is important because there's dignity in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Instead of just being stacked in a room with a bunch of strangers, and like there are some people who will never go to a shelter because of that
Right.
before
Yeah.
the pandemic, because there's it is a demeaning kind of existence
Yeah.
to just be stuck in a cot with just surrounded by people. In this model, you get your own space. You get an opportunity to to kind of get your affairs in order and try to plan your next steps. But it's not just as simple as not working hard enough, or
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who did everything right.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that
And they
already
still
in place
lost.
here? Is there?
Yeah, so they changed to that model during COVID with a lot of the federal funding that Continuum of Care was able to
So it'll
get.
stay though. You're thinking.
Yes.
Yeah, I
And
think
they're trying to
yeah,
expand it.
They're trying to
Oh,
expand
that's great,
it.
that's
yeah,
great.
and so it just kind of depends on the city, right, to like be able to maintain those programs and work with the
That's
community
awesome.
partners. But they saw a huge uptick in people that were accessing those resources. And then, of course, once you have someone in temporary housing, it's easier to get them to other resources that they may need, right? Because
Well, they
it's
probably don't even
so
know what's
multi-layered.
available.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
so when people
Yeah.
are able to, when they are able to get in there, is there a certain qualification, or is it a first come first serve? How does
I think it kind of depends on the
Their
agency and the organization. But a really great person for you guys to talk to would be Sam Shukas. She is like the main person for Continuum of Care, so we're happy to connect you guys to. She would be a great resource and
Okay.
would probably be really interesting to have here to talk.
Yeah, that's
you know,
what
on the
I was
podcast.
thinking about. You
I
took
think
that from
she,
my, yeah, that
so
would
we
be
can
great.
connect you guys.
Yeah.
She does a great deal of work and is a great person to reach out to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the housing issue is a huge deal,
It
and
is.
it does need to be addressed. As
Yeah.
being a part of Mainstreet, Megan and I, we co-chair Economic Vitality, and one of the things that we want to focus on is when we're talking about economy, like in the media, and like on the radio, it really gets dumbed down to very few factors, whether it's like how well the stock market's doing, and
Or not.
or not doing, right? Or and who's acquisitioning what company, but what we want to focus on is what we want to focus on is holistic economic understanding. Like, what does it take for your entire local economy to work? That means, like, for a business, like, yes, we provide a service as a cafe, but there's also ancillary businesses that get us the supplies that we need, the people that source our coffee, Dominion keeping our infrastructure on, like how understanding like all these things are at play. And yes, your employees being able to work a certain distance, live and work in the places that they are working in, living and working in as well. Like, that is really important. And understand that all those things are connected, and when they're missing, these are signs of a broken economy. So, like, when you go to a grocery store and grandma's bagging your groceries, that's a sign
Yeah,
of a
it's a
broken
problem.
economy.
Yeah.
And
because she has to, not because she wants
Not
to.
exactly.
Yeah, that's
Right,
true.
Exactly.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's not just
She
making
wants-
some extra cash on the weekend.
No.
She's trying to keep everything afloat,
Yeah.
and that's not the promise that we were given as kids.
Right.
And I think the younger generation is become very aware of it, and that's why unionization is happening all over the country, and Starbucks is trying to fight off this wave of kids unionizing in their shops because they are seeing those things. And if you can't live there, if you can't afford it, it's a big problem. And then if the
Absolutely.
city is not going to do the work
And
to make
now-
sure you have public transportation to get to where
Yeah.
you need to go.
Yeah, what can you do?
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity, I think, now with, like, especially coming out of COVID, it illuminated so many of those
Oh, absolutely.
problems.
Yeah.
It really laid bare the very stark issues that people are facing, especially
In the workplace.
in the workplace, workers' rights, like being able to have access to those places to live,
Yeah.
and
That's why
treatment.
that's why they call it the Great Resignation.
Yes,
People are
yeah,
just,
it's a huge,
I don't want to do this anymore.
a huge thing.
That's true.
Well, we see that
So-
all day long. I mean, it's been an awakening for families, or half of the listings I did last year were getting divorced. It's like, if I am going to only live till tomorrow, I damn well am going to be happy, So it's just amazing. Or we have grandmas and grandpas that are moving closer to the family, so they're finishing the basement or putting the 5th bedroom down there, things like that. Or people are saying, boom, I'm out. And I'm going to go to wherever I can because I can work anywhere now.
Exactly.
So it's just been a whole realization to everybody.
Yeah,
It's
and
crazy.
And for Fredericksburg, I think we have an opportunity to come together in stronger community, right? Recognizing how the most vulnerable people are also the most pivotal people in our economy, and how do we create more programs of advocacy for people that are really rooted in compassion, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you feel like you have two completely separate mentalities going on here in town?
I think there's definitely an old guard mentality, and then there's a new guard mentality where the old guard is used to things being framed in a certain way that makes it okay. You know, like.
But if you don't fit in that box, you're screwed.
You're screwed. So that's why, like, like unionization for like retail workers and restaurant workers, like that is something that needs to happen. But how society frames those things is also important.
Yeah.
So they take when they talk about cashiers and people in those fields, they call them unskilled workers. And no, they're not unskilled workers, because most people won't be able to go to Starbucks and just walk behind the counter and make their own espressos. So obviously there are some skills in there, but that language is designed to show to kind of disarm them of that value.
Great.
But really the only distinction that should be made professionally is certified work and uncertified work. If you are certified in a trade, that's different, and usually unions have been saved for trade workers.
Right.
But uncertified work, you may not have to go to school for that. You may not have to go to trade school to make coffee, but it's still it still has
We
a value.
value
You need
it.
to have a
don't we?
skill.
Oh my gosh.
It's not everybody who can make a good coffee.
I always told my boys, I'm
Yeah.
like, you guys go work and be a barista at Starbucks. They're like,
Yeah.
and I was like, why not? And they're like, people are staring at you the whole time. You know, I couldn't do
yeah.
that. I mean, it's hard. That's a lot of
is,
skill level back there.
Yeah,
And we
and-
appreciate that.
We believe the language that is being used is
it's
very
really
important.
critical.
It's just
in
old school.
changing those
Yep,
perspectives.
absolutely.
And kind of pushing back on some of those descriptions gives things a very different light, and then you really start to see like where the injustices really begin.
Yeah, and we really try to set that foundation for the team that we have that works with us, right? That's we have a human-centered model at Curitiba, and that's really important, not just to us, but to the people that work there. I mean, we would not be in the position we're in without them, and
Yeah,
they
that's-
should know that. They
Right.
should be compensated for
Absolutely.
that, and
It's a
given
team.
opportunities. Exactly, like we are working together to make this what it is, and we're hoping that we can spread that model other places, and those people are going to go and open their own businesses one day, and
Be able to
Well, let me tell you.
perpetuate that.
And
that
anyway,
model.
you feel when you go over there, you feel like a friendly environment and very atmosphere, good atmosphere.
yeah,
So you want to stay there and have your coffee and work too.
yeah,
Yeah.
we appreciate that.
Tell us how
Yeah.
your Main Street mentality incorporates in all this, and what's the project with that, and how you're involved with all that.
Yeah, so we have a couple things we're working on with Main Street. So like Cori said, we co-chair the Economic Vitality Committee, and we're working to incorporate some of those principles into our work with the projects that we're working on. We just recently formalized kind of our committee of people that are going to be working with us. But we have a number of programs that are kind of in the works. We're working on some diversity initiatives, just economic vitality in general, making sure businesses in downtown and the people that work for them and make them businesses have access to resources that are going to help them grow and be sustainable. And then I guess a big one is First Fridays, so we can kind of touch on that too. Yeah, recently rolled out, so I think it's going
Well,
really well so far.
Tell our
and-
public here, though, really, what is the Main Street Project?
Yeah,
Yeah, so Main Street, it's a nonprofit organization it's a national organization, and it has chapters throughout all the historic cities throughout America. And what their main thing is to do, the main thing that they're trying to do is they play a part in historic preservation, but also their main focus is making sure that businesses in these historic locations thrive. So it's like for us, when we first got into Curitiba, we had a representative from Main Street come to us, and they hook us up with a lot of opportunities to kind of make some of the changes that we needed, to kind of put us on the right path. Whether it was like grants, or they would reimburse us for buying equipment, because a lot of people wanted to sit
Or
outside.
doing stuff to the front of
especially
your
during
house,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
your
Yeah.
thing.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so
Exactly.
they did a technology grant for us, so we were able to replace our point of sale system, which was like desperately needed. It was like $2,000. It almost bought the entire system
awesome.
for
Oh,
us.
that's a lot of
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, the little
Yeah,
things
it's
like
huge.
that.
So the people in town, is it only business owners then that can be part of this, or gleaning?
So business owners, we're also working, we recently formed a property owners task force as
Yes.
well. So trying to incorporate all of those elements
Right.
of downtown, and we're working to try to find some ways that we can incorporate employees of downtown, people that
Okay.
residents that live and work in the downtown
In
district.
But traditionally, they advocate for
Yeah,
the
the
needs
business.
of the businesses. So, if the city's doing something and there's some issues, they try to see what they can do to make sure that people's needs are met. Like whatever the situation is, they are a funding source that will allow businesses to get access to things that they probably would normally have on their own, and
Yeah.
then also connecting all the businesses together so they
Yes.
realize like everyone, maybe you're not the only. If you feel like businesses is going a certain way, maybe you're not the only one, and it's just showing. It's just a way to connect everybody in a little more, just a more
Do you
holistic
feel
way.
Yeah.
COVID really hurt the downtown, or did you feel like it maybe brought you all up a little bit? And
Yeah, Fredericksburg did fairly well during COVID. There were not as many businesses that closed due to COVID. I can't remember the exact number, but it was pretty low.
It was 12. I think it was 12 or 10 businesses closed. Only 3 of them were COVID
Yeah,
related.
because of COVID, and then
Right.
others were,
planned events?
planned. They were
Yeah.
moving
Like cut
somewhere
back
else,
up.
or something happened in the business.
Yeah.
But I think Main Street definitely created a lot of programs that were really helpful
Yeah.
and connected a lot of people together. And I think there's a sense of solidarity between businesses, right? Because
That's huge.
it across the board, it doesn't matter like if you were in a specific, like a restaurant or a retailer or what, it affected different industries
Yes.
differently, of course, but across the board, everyone had difficulty.
Right.
So another thing we do a lot of training programs for businesses as well, connecting with the Small Business Center at Mary Washington. We work in close partnership with the city to help create a lot of these programs too.
Awesome.
So there's a lot of really great programs that come out of that.
Amazing job,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
for that's kind of our big project is First Fridays.
So what's First Fridays? What's your dream for that?
Yeah, so First Friday is already kind of like a national thing, right?
Yeah.
So, but what we're trying to do with First Friday is, we had to revitalize it. The original First Friday kind of disappeared, and it was missing from the community.
Yeah,
But-
still existing like in the galleries, but like
Yeah.
outside of just the galleries, there's a
Right.
big opportunity to really do some revitalization.
Yes.
So will be
revitalization.
the restaurants, opening their doors, and
Right.
you all too, and then art and whatever be in the streets, that kind of deal,
Right.
closing the street down.
So the big piece of that is the sip and stroll, which is a permit that we get from the ABC, so people can go into restaurants, buy their favorite alcoholic beverages, and they can take them outside, visit shops and things like that. And we have some fixtures there so to attract people and move people around, because the goal is
Is
to
to
get
spread
people
it.
to spread them out and get them to explore Fredericksburg.
You have to
'Cause-
do a treasure hunt.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's a great idea. Isn't it?
You gotta go here and get this.
Yeah, have a lot of components,
Yeah.
that are designed to do that, because we want people to come and shop at the retailers and
Right.
And there'll be music, I'm sure.
yes, yeah, live music.
Yeah, we have music events. We have buskers that we actually pay to be out there in the streets to kind of help move people around. And even though this is a new project, there's still a lot more new ideas to come. It's just a matter of getting the resources to execute them. But First Friday, in conjunction with the sip and stroll, is I think something that's really needed. The community seems to be very excited about it, especially the residents, because they get out and kind of do some different things.
Downtown was blowing up last week, and I mean, there
Yeah.
were tons of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I'm very excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of
So
fun.
when do you
We
see this
also-
happening? What do you?
So it's launched.
Okay.
So we had our second sip and stroll in March.
Right.
and especially
come we
going
didn't know
into
about that?
I knew.
weather.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did you go?
Well, last Friday, yes, everybody was.
Yeah.
It was the last Friday, no, the first Friday
Yeah.
this month. Everybody was,
Well, we should sip and stroll.
walking around. And,
Yes,
and,
we
and
feature,
I didn't know from the beginning, but then when I saw people, I said, "What they doing?" And then
Yeah.
somebody was, I think one of our colleague was doing like helping
Not.
people. Yeah, she was doing some helping people, so you can. So I'm gonna be like trying to help them, one Friday to do that.
Yeah. So we have a lot of volunteers
Volunteer.
that serve
That
as
would be
First Friday
fun.
ambassadors. We also feature a nonprofit each month at the Visitor Center. We may be moving them to the park at some point, but we work closely with the Visitor Center as well. They've been really fantastic.
So, real quick before we close it down, the new park, can you tell us a little bit about that? Do you know what it's a dog park, it's a kid park, all that down there at the end by the water? Is that
so
part of the Main
so
Street
Riverfront Park. It's not a part of like Main Street.
per se?
Wasn't
Per se.
yeah.
Okay.
But we do look forward to being able to use the space, especially for First Fridays.
Yes. So can you
So
all
you'll
set
be able
something
to
up there
go.
then, or will it
Yeah,
just be a place?
it's designed for a lot of companies and stuff like that to do that, or
it's a beautiful space.
nonprofit organizations to use it. I think we're just waiting it to like fully open because
Yeah,
a lot of the
still.
areas are still kind of closed off because they're trying to protect the grass. And
Right.
the weather has
I
been
saw the
crazy.
big orange fences around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they planted a lot of trees too,
Yeah.
but I think there'll be like river access and stuff too. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful
It's
space.
beautiful space.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna do like some cool like picnic baskets, from Curitiba, where you can just kind of take the basket.
What a
go
great
sit in the
idea.
park,
I'm gonna be a
bring your
volunteer.
wine.
Bottle of wine, bottle
Yeah.
of wine too.
Exactly.
Then do y'all
Yeah.
have wine? Do you serve
We do.
or
Oh, yeah.
style bottles then
Yes.
too? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do a little.
Let's go to happy hour.
Yeah, we do a little bit of everything.
we do.
I
Yeah.
always do go there
I
to
know,
my
I
happy
know,
hour.
I know.
Not only because it's a Latino tonight, but I go every time that I can have the opportunity to go there and enjoy with them.
Well, we'll
We
have
love
to have
having
you.
you.
We'll have to have you come back after this summer gets kicked off, then, and just kind of update us. And I really think that a lot of people want to do something, but they don't know how, and they don't know where.
Right.
So. To our world here, I mean, really, if you guys have questions, just reach out. You can, I guess,
Click.
click and love us would be nice, but you can ask questions and we'll get back to you just as soon as possible on Facebook or whatever, and we'll redirect. So we want everybody to get involved. We're all invested in this town and we love Fredericksburg. It's funny, you look at all the people that are here and how diverse they are and where they came from, and they've chosen Fredericksburg
Yeah.
to be their home.
Look at me, I came from Ohio.
I know. His accent is Ohioan. But
Yeah,
thank you
it's-
all.
Thank you so
and
much.
we definitely want to make ourselves available too. Like anyone, feel free, come by the shop. We live there pretty much.
Yeah.
And,
So you guys have a
if
piano,
we're,
so anybody can go and play the piano?
Yes, we do have one in the back. Yes,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's available.
I don't know how to
yeah.
play piano.
Yeah.
Seth Walden,
Yeah.
come home and you can play the piano.
Yes, it's available.
I love it.
But
Well-
yeah, we're here. Any questions, and especially as representatives of Main Street, we want to be visible. We want people and businesses to know they can come,
Yeah.
talk to us, ask us questions,
Right.
shoot us an email,
Yeah,
find our website.
Let us know your concerns.
Yeah, we're here to advocate.
Whatever you're seeing, let's try to find solutions to address them.
Yeah.
great.
Amen.
That's great.
Amen. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Fabio and Missy, or Missy and Fabio, we would
Real
love
talk.
Real talk. We'd love for you to click and love us and subscribe, and please ask questions. This is about our community. We do real estate, obviously. We're boots on the ground, so we see a lot, we know a lot, and we know a lot of people that we'd love to connect in any manner or form we can. Bye, you guys. Have a
Bye-bye,
great one.
guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Good job.
So glad you joined us today.
Please message us on Facebook, and Fabio and I will respond to all your questions as soon as possible,
Find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast.
or anywhere you listen to your podcasts.